Alyssa Purser with SUVtv. I'm here with Coach Johnson of Whitefield Academy. Now, Coach, you guys had a big win against St. Francis last night. How was that for you?
Oh, absolutely. It was definitely a big-time win, and it was an important win as well. There are three teams in our particular region that's right up at the top, and we're competing. Each one of us had one loss. It was Whitefield Academy, St. Francis, North Cobb Christian, so we've all beat each other. So last night's win actually gave us an opportunity to truly be number one in the region, assuming that we can get past North Cobb Christian. So great job, and I also like, more than anything, the style of play. I think that our guys illuminated what we believe in more than anything else last night.
You talk about North Cobb Christian. You guys are playing them Friday night. What do you think is going to be a key component to winning that game against them?
North Cobb Christian, very talented group. Coach Greg Mata does a great job with the guys. Number one, I think they're the best shooting team in all of Georgia, regardless of class. So the most important thing for us is to make sure that we contest every shot. When we play help, it's going to need to be a little bit wider. We're going to need to stretch that angle a little bit more so that we can contest off the ball when it's 2 or 3 passes away. And ball pressure is going to be important. And last not least, I truly think that we have to dominate the glass. Last time we played them, they did a good job of crashing offensive glass on us.
Okay. Now, you guys have had a very successful season. What do you think has been a key component to having such success with this season?
Well, initially, this is sort of a weird season. Initially, we started off, I think we were 5-0, and everyone assumed that we were pretty good. And I was not satisfied with any of those wins. In fact, I thought they were ugly wins because the staple of this program is physicality, hard-nosed defense, and playing with a true cerebral style of play. And I didn't think that was the case. I think we reflected more of an AAU team early on. And when we played North Cobb Christian, they simply exposed that. So all of a sudden, we went from looking real good to this team isn't that good. And I think the turnaround was the 2 Christmas tournaments. We played pretty well in the Miami Christmas tournament. It's called Crow Classic. And then we went to South Carolina, and we got a chance to play in the Upward Christmas Classic. Very good tournament, one of the best I've ever attended. And we did not win a game. And we were going through some identity issues. We had some issues with leadership. And so we came back. We sort of reshaped the roster. We put a whole lot more mandates in terms of what we're going to do as far as practice, what we're going to do in terms of game. And the leaders, my seniors, really stepped up. And so ultimately, I think the turnaround has been the seniors assume leadership and ownership of this team.
Okay. Now, you took a year off for whatever reason, and then you came back. How did that structure deal with how you were going to play in the team and come back for this season?
I think a lot. Let me just start off by saying that sometimes I think too much. And so that year that I had off, man, I had a whole lot of time to do some thinking about, who I am as an educator and definitely who I am as a basketball coach. Seemed kind of weird because prior to that, I'd been in the game of coaching for 19 years. You would think by then that I had a pretty good idea of who I was as a coach. But I wanted to help, for me personally, define what I believe in, my purpose for coaching. And I think that year really gave me an opportunity to grow conceptually. And I did a lot of writing. So by the time I was able to get back in, I knew exactly what I wanted to go, what things I wanted to tweak in the program, and some things that I wanted to add that I learned personally and professionally since I was out of the field of coaching.
You talk about your purpose for coaching. What do you think that is now that you had that time to reflect back?
Honestly, I think my purpose for coaching in my mind is teaching, and my passion is to grow young men the right way, in a godly way, and to grow them in a way they won't be afraid to be masculine. Sometimes I think masculinity is sometimes frowned upon, but I'm glad to say that our guys, I think now they really embrace what we've been trying to teach, which is we want to make sure that whenever you want to get out and they want to get married and they have their own kids, they'll be put in a position to where they can be tough men and to be able to face whatever obstacles God put in their way. And so, for me personally, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that God has put me in this particular field, and more than anything else, I want to grow people the right way, and I also want to show that being a Christian doesn't necessarily mean that you're weak. You can be just as compassionate as anybody else, and I'm thankful for the gift that He's given me an opportunity to be able to express that gift.
Okay. Now, you won 3 state championships with Whitefield Academy. What are some of your fondest moments of those wins for you for each of those teams?
Well, I start off with 2003. I'll probably say more than anything else, it was a team of the impossible. We were playing against Dwight Howard, who was the #1 pick in the draft, and he had a teammate, Javaris Crittenden, was also a first-round draft choice. So there were 2 NBA players, 2 future NBA players on that team. And our tallest player was 6'4", and so our center was the same height as their point guard. So it definitely looked impossible from the outset. But I don't think I've ever been around a group of guys as coachable and passionate, as tough as that 2003 team. And then moving up, the 2009 team, they were the headache team. I had those guys for 4 years. And, man, it looked like we were not going to be able to get it done. I mean, they were very talented, great kids off the court. But, man, they had to be the most hard-headed group of guys that I had. And it was beautiful to see them transform in front of our eyes. And I tell everybody that I think Coach James had more to do with that 2009 championship team than anything else, because he constantly complained that I was being too nice to him. So I allowed him kind of to take the hams for about a month. Beautiful thing. I mean, after that, I don't think we won it. I don't think we lost another game. And then 2012, that team was special because the camaraderie was very tight. It was led by Kenny Gain, who's now playing in the SEC with the University of Georgia. And coming from the Christmas holidays, I saw the seniors, just like this team that I presently have now, I saw the seniors really take over, and the team bonded in a special way. So each one of those 3 teams has special memories for me.
What would a state championship mean to you if you won this year?
Oh, man, you know what? It would mean a lot, because it would probably a little bit of all 3 of the state championships that we've had before. And that, in some ways, it looked impossible from the outside. The leadership has really taken over, like what we saw in 2012. And then, of course, 2009. That team, as I said, it was somewhat hard-headed, and this team has been challenging from that standpoint as well. So it's good to see them coming back around. But it's just one game at a time, and I just want to make sure that at the end of each game that we represent ourselves the right way. That's playing the game of basketball, you know, from a physical standpoint, and also playing it, you know, thinking the game throughout, and to make sure sportsmanship is a premium for this team.
So it's not just about winning. You want to make sure that they're giving everything that they have.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, sure, I think anybody would like to come out numerically ahead. But like I said before, during the early part of the season, we were undefeated. I was not really happy because I didn't like our style of play and our commitment to unselfish play. So for me, winning is giving 110%. That's 100% of effort and at least 10% of faith in what you're doing. I think Jesus said it perfectly when he said that if we have faith the size of a mustard seed, which is the smallest of all seeds, it can produce greatness. And so I believe with that 10% of just believing in what we're doing and who we're doing it for and giving 100%, to me, you couldn't expect or ask for anything more from a student athlete.
Okay, so you've been coaching with kids for about 20 years now.
That's
and a
correct.
lot of the issues right now is the pay-for-play issue. What is your thought on college athletes and whether or not they should be paid or not?
Well, let me just say straight off the bat, yes, college athletes should be paid, in my opinion. I think we're way past the day of saying, well, they're getting paid for the scholarship. It has become a free enterprise. It's a free enterprise for those who have the opportunity to work in the system, but it's not necessarily a free enterprise for those who are playing for the system. And let's face it, no one's coming to see a coach, and I coach. I have no problem with that. Nobody's coming to see an NCAA official. They're coming to see the kids. And if you would just look at some of the propaganda that's out now and some of the things that are going on just from a marketing standpoint, NCAA, it's a $1 billion industry, and the kids are not getting a chance to share in that profit. Many of those kids, I'm sure, are business majors. Some of them are history majors, and they're getting a chance to learn, how our economy works. They're getting a chance to learn the history of our economy, but yet they're playing in a market, or should I say, even in a vacuum that is completely contrary to what they're learning academically. And I think yesterday I just read an article that they just released some of the ticket prices for NCAA. I think it's going to be the NCAA championship game, and the top end of the tickets used to be, I believe it was $383. Now the top end is something close to $2,000. So, there's going to be even more revenue coming in. You look at the ESPN contracts, the SEC contract, the different conferences. I mean, there's a lot of money being circulated, and I think those kids should have an opportunity to not just show their worth, but to earn their worth as well.
Do you think that all the athletes should be paid? I mean, versus the football stars versus the tennis stars and gymnastics, like the sports that aren't as popular, should they be getting money as well? Or do you think just the big sports that are bringing in the revenue?
Well, I mean, I know the politically correct thing would be all athletes probably should get paid, but I think realistically that's not going to be the case. Although if it was, I would not object to that at all. Of course, it would mean that the athletes who are really producing the most money will probably get less, but I'm okay with that because, again, I think that you will be paying, athletes based on their contribution. But I think if you want a system that's going to reflect that economy, I think some of that money should be revenue share based, which would mean that the athletes who play the larger sports in the larger market would stand to profit a little bit more. And I know that brings up a whole lot of issues because people say that it would produce an unfair advantage. That's exactly what's happening now anyway. I mean, if you had an opportunity to play, no offense, but if you have an opportunity to play for Georgia State at UGA, kids are going to choose to play for UGA. Only difference is the kids are not getting paid.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, Coach. I really appreciate it, and the best of luck to you for your Friday game.
Hey, thank you.
Alyssa Purser with SUVtv.